Tight to the shoulder, Steve. Go on. You hit it. You definitely got the target.
That was a definite
brilliant.
hit.
I thought it was. Everyone's charging.
I thought to myself, it's a cannon.
In the final part of Mud Men, time to bring out the big guns. Our day mudlarking at the Tower of London has led us to the rifle range at Bisley via the battlefields of Waterloo. Steve returned a light infantry cap badge to its rightful owners, whilst I traced the very gun that fired the musket balls I found on the foreshore.
Particularly lovely example.
Now we're examining the history of firearms used by the British Army over the last 200 years. But for me and Steve, that means getting a little trigger happy.
What can we fire next?
Right, we're not going to fire the next one. We'll just look at that, so we're going to crack on. The big advance happened in the Crimea. It's a pattern 1853 rifle. Key difference is the word rifle.
What does that mean?
It spins, there are grooves inside the barrel which spin the bullet as it flies. It's like American football. If you take an American football and throw it, it just wobbles end over end and lands 3 foot in front of you. If they spin it, they can throw it the full length of the pitch because it stabilises in flight. It's exactly what this does. With this, you can hit a man at 600 yards.
Really? Really?
Warfare has suddenly become much more dangerous. With one of those, I could stand 200 yards away, you could shoot at me all day, and I'd just sit there with my gin and tonic enjoying myself, thinking, that Vaughan, he's got no chance.
Yeah, which you're right to think.
There's a famous general during the American Civil War who was stood about 400 yards away from some Union soldiers, sat on his horse, and his last words were to his officers who were saying, "Get down, General, it's dangerous." He said, "Don't be stupid, they couldn't hit an elephant at this." At that point,
Bang.
the bullet went straight through him.
And of course, this is also the first war where trenches start to appear.
Exactly.
Because they're having to sort of think, how do we deal with accuracy here?
Soldiers had to hide. You could no longer walk around in big columns. You're exactly right. You had to dig a hole, you had to hide in a cave, you had to do something to try and balance it out. The thing is, it still only fires 2-3 rounds a minute top whack.
Next up is the Martini Henry, which in 1871 became the first purpose-built breech-loading rifle to see service in the British Army, most famously at Rorke's Drift.
This is it, the Zulu gun.
Which is a breech-loading weapon.
Now this is made in Enfield then, the first one we've had not made in the Tower.
It was around the late 1850s the government actually opened their own arms factory at Enfield Lock. Now the big advance is we've now got a round, it's self-contained, brass case, it's got the cap, the same as the percussion cap that we looked at previously. That's the bullet, and the black powder, it's still gunpowder, is contained within the case. So to load it, you simply drop it in the chamber and close the lever. You can now get 10-15 rounds a minute off. So for the first time, we've got a gun which is accurate to 600 or 700 yards. We can fire it 10 times a minute. Warfare's come up yet another step.
See the size of them bullets?
No.
They are missiles.
Steve's going to be the Sergeant Major, you're going to be Private Vaughan again.
Okay.
You're going to fire to command.
Private Vaughan, load! Present! And fire! Present and fire! Woohoo! And fire!
Yes!
Any one of those would have killed the opponent at 100 yards, and you got all 3 shots
Open
off.
and smoking.
Very easy.
Booyah! Booyah! I got it. Sorry.
Next thing they did, of course, was they developed a small calibre cordite-propelled magazine-fed rifle, which is what we're going to go and look at now.
Okay.
This is the next step, the bolt action. This is a short magazine, Lee Enfield, dates from the First World War. Uses a cartridge the same as the Martini. Unlike all the previous guns that are black powder, this uses cordite, much cleaner burning, much more energetic, probably about 2 to 3 times as powerful as the one we've just been looking at. Other difference is this is a 10-round magazine. You load your cartridges into the top of the gun like this.
Into the breech.
And once you've loaded them in...
Once more into the breech.
Once more into the breech. So basically you just put your 10 rounds in and it's ready to go.
Holds 10.
It holds 10
Holds
rounds.
10 and
this.
one chambered.
One chambered, so got a total of 11 rounds, accurate out to about 1,600 yards now. These were actually so rapid firing in the hands of British troops, a lot of the German units reported they were up against heavy machine guns, but actually it was just our guys working these things so fast.
10 rounds rapid fire! In your own time, commence! Faster! There are others now, we're dead now, you've killed us!
I'll get it bang it out. All over.
This is why the First World War developed into trench warfare. If you stood up in front of that, you were dead. The only thing you could do was hide underground as quick as you can and stay down there for as long as you could.
The advent of smokeless cordite powder allowed machine guns such as the Vickers. Previously, gunpowder was so smoky and filthy, guns would simply seize up after repeated firing. As cordite-packed bullets produced no residue, for the first time, it was possible to have a fully automatic weapon without fear of it jamming.
This is a Vickers gun, First World War design. 303 belt-fed machine gun. What I'm doing now is basically setting the gun up for firing, making sure it's oiled. You don't want these stopping. I'm far too high.
It's water cooled so it doesn't overheat. I think it was the Buffs during one of the early battles of the Somme fired about 1.5 million rounds out of one gun in 24 hours.
1.5 million?
They just kept linking belts up, changing barrels, pouring more water in, bringing more belts in. They just kept going and going. These things get through a 250 round belt in 5 seconds or so. Now they have to be hand loaded, and you'd have to have 40 or 50 men in a trench 100 yards behind, desperately reloading bullets, opening cases, trying to keep the things fed. It's based on the Maxim gun, which the Germans used during the First World War. The Maxim guns called the Grim Reaper, the Devil's Paintbrush, all sorts of things.
The Devil's
like that.
Paintbrush?
The Devil's Paintbrush was what it was called. It
The
was
Devil's
grim.
Paintbrush. So did we copy this off them then, effectively, or was this a...
No, Maxim was actually an American. The Germans bought the gun and the British bought the gun. We had it made at the Vickers factory at Ellswick, which is why we called it the Vickers. They made theirs at Spandau, their arsenals like that.
Where we get the phrase Spandau Ballet. Which is exactly what our British troops did as they danced in front of the Spandau machine gun,
That was the big arsenal just outside Berlin.
I think, Steve, I'll just jump in here. To be fair, it's my turn.
I've got a note from my mum.
Okay.
Your pimp soles are in the wash. I'm on it.
No, Steve, to be fair, you went for the Lee Enfield. I had the...
Go on then.
OK.
Once again, it's another saying, bailed up.
Yeah.
Where machine gun guys came down trenches with their empty belts, gave it to the guys just sitting around to tell them to put ammo into their belts so they could carry on firing.
OK, so that's what
Once
they used to do, I guess, when they had time on their hands. OK.
Yep. Cock and lever's there, that comes up and round, stops about there.
OK, if you want to cock it, I'm just more interested in your firing bits.
Right, this is the only weapon actually cocked twice.
OK.
Out once. I'm going to do it 3 times, just to make sure.
We're cocked. Everyone at a safe distance. Got the things there. Are we ready?
Yep.
That's quality.
I'm not sure that's the usual reaction of a soldier when using a Vickers gun, but nonetheless it proves the point. And you did hit the target with all 500 bullets that
Did
time,
I?
so...
Brilliant.
Ready, Vaughan?
Yes.
Oh, man!
Oh, the smell! It's the smell that does it for me. That's normal.
Every home should have one.
That
should come out for all family celebrations, always. That is phenomenal. Oh, man!
Brilliant,
Can I have another go? Just one more go, go on.
I'm going to film Johnny so he can take it home to the pub tonight and show the boys.
No, it's not. I want to send it to my mum. My mum really likes weapons of war. She bought my first subscription to it when I was 5. OK, you're going to need both hands for it. Come low, so you can really get it on the whole thing. It's the most important thing we've done all day. All right, Mum. All right, I wish you were here, Ma. Thinking of you, Mum. That's the best thing. It's so good. I mean, what a day, really.
Unbelievable. I just loved it. I actually loved the musket. What did you like best?
I'd have to go with the 303 Lee Enfield. That little baby's won 2 wars for us.
I must admit, though, sitting behind that Vickers, though, just round after round after round.
OK, forget the Lee Enfield, the Vickers, all the way.
It's got to be...
Same ammo, different rules.
Brilliant, I loved it.
It was phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to start sounding like a couple of hillbilly nutcases. But that was some good shooting. I think you got to win the day there with the musket fire, I really do.
Well,
because that was, you hit that twice, and I don't know how you did that, because that was massive. Anyway, let's go, it's getting dark. Come on, let's go to the pub.
I loved it. I really did love it. Since the filming of Mudmen, our expert Jeff Egan sadly passed away. To us, Jeff was a god, an actual genius on our finds from the foreshore. So Jeff, rest in peace, and we'd like to dedicate the whole series to you, mate.